Hi, it's Tracy from Two Rocks Tarot with the second video in this series that I'll be doing on tarot tips and tricks and secrets. So in the last video we discussed about actually choosing a deck. So in this video we'll be discussing the different types of systems of reading whichever deck that you have chosen. So there is a Rider-Waite way of reading a tarot. There is a Thoth way of reading a tarot. There is a Marseille way of reading the tarot. So which way do you read? So of course when I started all those years ago I only ever heard of the Rider-Waite way, so that's how I actually learnt. So I suppose excuse me, the best way to decide which way you are going to read the tarot is depends on what type of deck that you choose. Okay, so you might have gone ahead and decided that an oracle deck really appealed to you, and you may be flipping through the guidebook and having a look at what the meanings mean, and some of them you'll read them and you read some of the meanings and you'll think, oh yeah, that sounds right. You'll read other meanings and you think, no, that doesn't really gel with me. I don't really agree with that. So the best thing to do in this situation is to choose what type of reading way that you prefer. So for myself, I read neither of those ways anymore. Well, I never read the Thoth or the Marseille way. But as for the Rider-Waite way, I don't read like that anymore. So I am what I class a pictorial reader. So I purely read what I see in the pictures of the tarot deck, no matter what it is, if it's tarot, oracle, etc, etc. Even with crystals, because I do read crystals as well. So it's whatever I see in the images is how I read the tarot now, and I've been doing that for many years. I think pretty early on I stopped. I think probably only read the Rider-Waite way a couple of years before I developed my own reading style. And this is the thing with the tarot. You're going to probably see a lot of videos on YouTube and articles about learn the tarot in 2 days, in 2 minutes, and I'm going to tell you, there is nothing instant about learning the tarot or any divination type of system. Tarot is a lifelong learning project. I'm still learning things now, some 28 years later. You never stop learning when it comes to the tarot. You truly don't. It always surprises you. It really does. So when it comes to what style of reading you're going to do, you'll find out pretty early on which way you're going to gravitate towards. So I mean, if you really love the Marseille, then you might be hell-bent on just reading the Marseille the way the Marseille was supposed to be read, and that's fine. If that suits you, that's fine. If you love the Rider-Waite way, read that way. If you love Thoth, read that way. It doesn't matter. As long as what you are reading in the cards makes sense to you and it hits that aha moment in your body when you know what you're reading is right for you, then that's the way you should read it. Don't read the way anybody, even myself, who should tell you how to read. It's whatever suits you. So there are very many different ways of reading the tarot and oracle decks. So as I said before, mine is just purely pictorial. So that's why I'm not in any tarot groups. I think I'm with Tarot Deck Modification, and that's about it. Because when somebody asks a question like, oh, what does the Queen of Cups mean? I can't answer that, because the Queen of Cups will mean something different to me, relevant to the question that's asked. So, because I do read professionally, so I might get the Queen of Cups in a career, I might get it in just a general inquiry, I might get it in love or whatever. It's going to mean something different. The thing is, when you read the tarot, you always have to look at it relevant to the question that's being asked. And now sometimes you don't get a question. Sometimes when people request a reading from me, they just put in one word. That's all I've got to go on. And this is where your intuitive abilities really kick in, because you look at the card, but you let the card speak to you. Always have the question in mind, but look at the card and what is it that is calling out to you? Is it the actual cup that the Queen is holding? Is it the ocean? Is it her throne? These little things, I think what happens when you look at tarots for some, especially when you're new, is you're looking at the whole card, trying to get the whole image to speak to you. And that's very hard to do. Some people are just naturally gifted and they can look at the whole card and get the whole lot in. But I pick the cards to bits, It's whatever my eyes are drawn to first. That is what I'll read. And then I sort of you know, go right throughout the card, and then I'll look at the card as a whole. So that might be something that might help you with. But just remember, there is nothing instant about tarot. So if you do follow my channel, you probably know that I do spirit messages. I haven't done one for a while because I have had a big break from YouTube, and I really needed it. So I haven't felt a pressing call to do any yet, but they'll come to me when they're ready to speak. Now, how I found out that I had this ability was a couple of years ago when I was still on Instagram. There was a challenge going on about getting in touch with your spiritual guides. And I thought, wow, that sounds pretty good. I might actually do that one. And something just made me decide to just shuffle my deck and ask a spirit to step forward who had a message for somebody that I wanted to get across. So I did that, and I put it on my Instagram, and I did have quite a few replies about that these spirit messages resonated with people. And so I thought, oh, you know, it's something that I want to delve into a little bit more, and I started doing them on my YouTube channel, and they've proven to be quite popular. Now, I don't do a lot of them because you can't, you know, if spirit doesn't want to send a message through, well, how am I going to force the spirit to come through? You know what I mean? But for me, I've got the Ciro Marchetti's deck, Oracle of Visions, which I might actually pause and I'll just grab it. So these are the cards that I do my spirit messages with. Now, I had this deck for around, good 5 years, I think. Actually, it's got it on the back. When did it was published? It was published 2014, actually, so I had it a little bit longer. But I never read with it. I thought the images were absolutely beautiful, but it never spoke to me until I did spirit messages. This deck is absolutely amazing for spirit to come through and give me a message. I cannot tell you how fantastic this deck is. So once I realized, I mean, I can do it with any deck, but this is the best one still, I feel, for reading that, for those type of messages. So that was something new, and I've been reading for, you know, 20 years or more before this ability suddenly manifested within me, and I couldn't believe it. I truly couldn't believe it. So that's what I mean about saying that tarot is a lifelong pursuit. You will always learn. You couldn't have told me, you know, when I first started reading the tarot that I'd be getting spirit messages. I would have just laughed at you, you know. I probably would have laughed at you too, saying I'd have a YouTube channel. But it is a lifelong learning. So whatever system that you decide to read with, whatever it is, stick to it. But the best thing to do is to always remember, you know, whatever feels right in your heart, in your gut, in your head. You know when everything just feels right, and that's what it should be like when you read the tarot. There should be no hesitation. There should be no wondering if you're right or wrong. It should just be, aha, yeah, that sounds right, and just stick with it. So whatever system you decide to read with, just stick with it. So you might decide to, because I mean, I know a lot of people say that you should read the Rider-Waite way, and that way you've got a gist of all the meanings, you know, of every card, which it can be true in some ways. It is good to have that background knowledge, but I have to admit that even reading all this, you know, reading for all these years, I very rarely put a Rider-Waite meaning into my readings. I truly don't. So, you know, I still think, I'm still glad that I did learn that way, because I do have that knowledge, but because of the way I read, because I'm a pictorial reader, I never read that way anymore. I really don't. What else? I think that's probably about it for this video, because I don't want to make them, you know, a really long, drawn-out videos, but I really just wanted to press the fact that tarot is a lifelong pursuit. There's nothing instant about it. Don't believe all the hype that you can read, you know, unless you're truly psychic and you just, you know, pick it up like that. But it's a lifelong learning thing. It truly is. So, you know, don't get discouraged that it's taking time, because it will take time. I also wanted to touch on, you will probably read a lot of people that will say to pull a card a day, one card a day, to learn the tarot. That never worked for me. I tried that. I tried all of it. I tried the one card a day. I tried sleeping with the deck under my pillow. Just wasn't uncomfortable night's sleep for me. So I always pulled 3. And probably another hint that I'm going to give you if you want to learn the tarot this way is to actually not do it in the morning. pull them at night time, and then when you look at the cards at night, think about your day, how it went, and see how the cards reflect how your day actually went. Because if you pull them in the morning, just for instance, say you're going to go to a party and you pull the Tower for your card, and you're just pulling the one card, mind you. You pull the Tower. Now let's do more. You pull the Tower, you pull the Devil, and what else can we say? And you pull the Ten of Swords. Now you're going to think to yourself, if you pull this in the morning, shit, what a crap day this is going to be, okay? Now, if you had done it at the end, so you've gone to this party, but today you've decided to pull it, you know, at the end of the day, and you have a look at it, and you think, oh, that Devil's Food Cake was absolutely amazing, but it was so funny when it fell off the table and all the knives and forks fell into the cake. It really looked like it was the devil that was putting the, you know, that threw all the knives into the cake. Do you see what I'm saying? So, you know, from doing it in the morning and you're thinking, oh God, this party is going to be crap. But then if you do it at the end of the night, and this is actually what happened, that the birthday cake just fell off the table. It happened to be a Devil's Food Cake, and all the knives and forks, because the table went in like that, fell in there and was stabbing the cake. So this is what I'm saying. I think that was the biggest help for me was when somebody said to do your readings of the day at the night time when you're learning the tarot, because when you tend to do it in the morning, you're going to be thinking about that, even if it's unconsciously, and you're going to try to force situations to what happened in the day. So you're going to be trying to think like, I don't know, maybe you might see somebody trip up at the train station and you're going to think, oh, that's the Tower, you know, she could have fallen on the train tracks. Do you see what I'm saying? So the best way to do it, to let it come naturally, is to do it at night time, and then you can think about the day and look at the cards and see how they reflect what happened. So there's another little tip for you. So I hope you enjoyed this, and until next tip, this is Tracy.